Hi guys, welcome to the Reverse Sweep podcast. This is episode 14. I have Siddharth, Darshil, and Pranav with me. We're going to talk about England's loss, 2-1 loss in the ODI series to India, and a bit about the IPL as well, but majorly about the ODI series and review it. So, हुआ ये कि India won the first game for a change, and then England came into their own in the second ODI, chased down 340, matlab, with 6 overs to spare, and then in the last game it was a fitting end to a great series where England looked down and out. Then Sam Curran played an amazing innings, and then India managed with a couple of great overs to sneak through and win the series 2-1. So we'll start off with Siddharth. Siddharth, what do you think is England's biggest gain from the series?
I think the biggest gain is definitely their middle order, like even like
Hmm.
and their approach, like definitely they didn't have root, and that was a big loss. I mean, because everyone thinks that the team builds around root, yeah, wo. But they showed that they can make like 320 plus scores, and वो भी आराम से बनाया, not like
Not just Root and Morgan both.
वही Morgan was in the
Morgan
first
made.
game, but like after that, like the next two games, they can show that the middle order, like Livingstone came in and he played like pretty good knocks. He made like 30 odd in
Yeah,
both the games, 30
yeah.
odd in both the games, and not like he made slow. He kept the run rate going, and that's what England's golden thing is, right? So I think the middle order and the way that Sam Curran played, I mean, what a find. I mean, I think
Yeah.
he's gonna have a long time, and it just shows how deep England's batting is and how fluid England's batting is. So I think that's definitely a plus point that they can keep on rotating if they need, and they have pretty fluid batting order. And in bowling, I don't think they need to worry much. I mean, at times they were obviously outdone by India's batsmen, and it was pretty even matches. But I think it was pretty solid series for England going into the World Cup. I don't think, like, pretty sure they have a settled squad because they didn't make many changes like throughout the three ODIs. It is clear the combination they want to go with. They like playing Moeen Ali as a second spinner. They like going with 6-7 bowlers. Stokes bowled and Phil. Last game, even Livingstone bowled a couple of overs. So they like having the bowling option. So I think it's a pretty
That took
settled
a
team for
wicket
them.
also.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pretty settled team for them, and I think they just need to find, like, on the day. I think they're pretty good squad. So I don't think they'll
Yeah.
only take positives from the series. Yeah.
Yeah, one small change that I saw was I personally thought that, I mean, Joe Root at three is the template, but they've sort of stuck with Stokes at three. So it'll be interesting when Root comes back. Are they continuing? Because Stokes at three means ki then there is no respite at all. I mean, everyone in the lineup is just going to go after you, and that's what they did. I mean, that's what they were trying to do all the time. So we'll move to Pranav. Pranav, we'll talk about India now. So obviously, it has been a great sort of overall tour for India. We've whitewashed them, Test, T20, and now ODIs. But what is the one point of concern that you feel uh, was not something that you were happy with, or was something that needs to be worked out before the T20 World Cup and the Limited Overs World Cup and the future?
Right.
Apart
So,
from calling
yeah,
for
well,
strategies back.
nothing much can be done about the toss unless you
Hmm.
go by gully cricket way of whoever loses gets a chance the next time to choose, or the winner gets the next chance, something like that. So there's no really other option, and unless you can, go
Hmm.
back to Einstein
Black
days and
magic.
look at some physics of how to win the toss and whatnot. I mean, who knows? In today's world, you might even find some answer to that. But anyway, back to the more serious aspect. That is, this was a very positive series for India because we had to bat first in all the games, and we won two of them. And the
Hmm.
first one, though, it looked like we were going to get hammered so badly, and we came back and won. And although we have to say that England also contributed to their demise in the first ODI because they didn't really try to, just see out the game after going at almost 9 and over. Everyone seemed in bit of a hurry, and Indian team also did not give up. So that's credit to them. But they made a change in the second game, and then they chased down the total quite comfortably after that. So I think also England's approach was because they didn't have a stabilizer like Root at number three, and with Morgan also at four, who's also Morgan is a complete batsman. He can do virtually anything. So they didn't have that. So the rest of them, kind of a slightly softish underbelly in their middle order, which we were not seeing when Root and Morgan were playing. Stokes had to, a different role, and Stokes is not comfortable being a I wouldn't say anchor, but someone who just takes singles and all. Stokes is a power player as well. So I guess that was the one thing that worked in the second game after they got a bit set. Third game, of course, India's bowling, really came up trumps. I mean, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, he bowled more attackingly in the game. I was talking on other WhatsApp groups, and that's what they also noticed, that instead of being just a bowler who contains, he was bowling more attacking length. That's why in the first over he went for a few runs, but he stuck to
For
that
the
line of
wicket.
getting the ball into Roy, because Roy also does not have a very good defense. So he managed to pierce that. And of course, with Johnny Bairstow, he knows Bhuvi very well, and Bhuvi also knows his game well. So I don't know whether it was Bhuvi's idea or Pant's or Kohli's idea, but to stand up to the stumps was really good, because he was standing outside the crease to counter it. And, eventually he did something, a slight error, and he got out leg before. And, in the previous game, he survived umpire's call, but this time he didn't. So,
Just
quite
one
of
thing
a.
about Bhubaneswar here, like after 2019 World Cup, till date, India had the second worst opening 10 over bowling rate. We were
Wow.
only better than Scotland and Ireland at 51 above their average. Bhubaneswar single-handedly brought it down to 33 in this series.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So
And
that's the
what,
impact Bhubaneswar
right?
had.
So, I'm sorry to go off topic, but what was the real negative for me was, of course, the spin bowling. I mean, Indian team may not having a spinner who can be reliable is really alarming, if you
Yeah.
ask me. I know this year we don't have many ODIs to play, but the fact is, it's very sad that Kuldeep has been found out and he has really no confidence, because it doesn't act. The thing is, I'm not trying to make excuses for Kuldeep, but team management has really not shown much confidence in him and not given him much opportunities. Like, he went to Australia, and I don't even think he played a game. So he was doing nothing for an entire tour. Then he was brought back. He was dropped for a newbie like Nadeem. Then he played one test, and again he was dropped. Didn't play T20s. I don't think he played the T20s. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think he did.
I don't
And
think
now
it is.
yeah, then two ODIs ऐसे ही लेके आए उसको. So the thing is, he has to obviously go back to domestic cricket and go back to, consult maybe someone like a Shane Warne as to how he can get that magic back in his bowling. And the thing is, a player like him, he needs confidence. And I don't believe these theories about him missing MS Dhoni, because even when he was, he had a very good face. True, MS Dhoni and all guided him well, but the main
Hmm.
thing about about wrist spinners is that as long as nobody is picking their variations, they're always going to be dangerous. And with all the data available today, eventually Kuldeep was going to be found out. So even if Dhoni was there today, it would not have made much of a difference. England have got
Agree
this
massively, but
idea.
okay.
Uh, England have got this idea that you have to just destroy the spinners. So that's the idea they look at even now. And
Hmm.
like I said, everyone knows now what Kuldeep is going to bowl, and what are his
Counter.
he bowls, he flights the ball. He doesn't have a lot of pace off the pitch, and whenever he does, also he's not as that accuracy is not there when he's trying to bowl quicker. And and the same thing with Chahal. Chahal, though he's not had as his problems are slightly lesser. He's still in the T20s every now and then when he's used properly as a middle overs bowler. He's dangerous, and even in ODIs, if you can maybe use him in that phase, he's still quite useful. But the USP was the two of them working together, and now it's impossible to play both of them together. It's either you play one or you don't play at all. And like I said, in the final game, it was the right call not to play any spinner, because pitches are so damn flat and the ground is so small that in the end it was the right decision. I know Sam Curran played really well and got it close, but 200 for seven, India had more or less sealed the game there with their fast bowlers. And even though Prasidh Krishna went for runs, which eventually I expected him to be found out, but others like Shardul Thakur really stood up. Now, the other concern for India is that Hardik Pandya, he bowled really well, but is he going to be just bowling once in a while, or is he actually going to be a regular fifth or sixth bowling option? Because the issue is England, like you said, like Siddharth was pointing out, even without Archer, without Vokes, who would have played today? If Archer and Vokes were playing, then you would not be seeing Sam Curran and Moeen Ali in the team. Sam Curran and Moeen Ali have not been features of the team. Sam Curran has never been in the ODI
Yeah.
squad
Hmm.
playing because he was, he's going to play IPL and he's not going to be playing for India.
I think Pranav ka video got stuck. Anyway, so we'll move on to Darshil while Pranav joins back. So is Kuldeep's career over? I mean, too
No,
early
I
to
think
say, or hmm.
I think what Kuldeep requires, I think, and Pranav rightly pointed out, is match practice. I think if a player is not in form, I think the best way to get back in form for batsmen is to spend time at the crease, and I think same applies with the bowler as well, right?
Hmm.
Carrying him around uh, is not going to do him any good if he's not playing. I think he can go back to playing domestic cricket, work on his action. I don't think his career is over. I think India still does not have a premier spinner, right? I don't see anyone who has taken the spinner slot, right? I mean, Jadeja definitely takes the all-rounder slot, but there is not a numero uno spinner for the ODIs
Yeah,
or for the
from
middle. I think
two
it's a
premier
tough one.
spinners playing together, we've come to really no one.
I think
I
because
don't know.
India want to
Yeah.
like strengthen their batting. They want to take the batting deep.
I,
And if you look at the
and
bowlers, they don't bat.
And
Yeah.
the problem is India's spin is not just like facing is play is getting good spinners. I think it's embarrassing how often a top order loses wickets to spinners. And I
Hmm.
mean, no
Yeah, yeah,
disrespect,
everyone
but
struggles in the top order. Yeah.
yeah, Rohit Sharma goes out with the
Kohli.
googly, Kohli goes out with the googly, and India is supposed to be the land of spin talent. I think facing Kuldeep in the nets has made them bad. But on a serious note, I think for Kuldeep especially, there's a lot more left in his career. He will definitely bounce back. I think he just needs some playing time. I still rate Chahal over Kuldeep though. I think Chahal is a much more smarter bowler in like Kuldeep maybe more talent, but I think
Mentally
Chahal
stronger as well.
mentally stronger as well. And I think he has a knack of picking up wickets even when things are not going well. So I think both of them will eventually make a comeback into the team.
One thing I was really disappointed with was
Hello.
so yeah, brother, we can hear you, but we can't see you yet. Now we can see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Where
Sorry, no worries.
I'm sorry, I had stopped. Yeah, so my point was key.
No,
India has
we
Ah,
actually moved on that. Yeah, on the next one.
so sorry. Yeah.
ah. Chalo,
So
the next one
sorry.
is actually what I was saying was one thing I was really disappointed was so this has been like a whole season of new people coming in, making their mark, doing really well and everything. And I thought Kuldeep deserved a chance, obviously, and when he got it, he didn't make use of it, right? So that's probably a big disappointment that I had. I felt ki if people coming into the team are doing so well, then the whole vibe of the team is very positive right now. So it's I don't know what frame of mind Kuldeep is in, but whatever it is, I think he needs to maybe go back. I don't think he's going to get a lot of chances in the IPL. I was listening to Dinesh Karthik. He comes on the Sky podcast or the Sky
Yeah.
cricket show. So what he was also saying was it's a big IPL for him. He needs to get his chin up and all that. But I personally feel I don't think he's going to play a lot, or he's definitely not going to play from the starting over Varun at KKR as well. So I'm a little concerned about where his career is going, and also about how fragile his confidence looks at the moment. I mean, couple of sixes, and you know that now he's just willing to get away and finish the over. So I mean, it's sad, but that's where I think he is. Chalo, we'll talk about
Maybe a
England.
move to CSK will do him good.
I think the
Needs
problem for
that.
him is basically that he needs to add maybe another dimension to his bowling. Maybe try and be able
Yeah,
to bowl a bit
found
quicker,
out.
something, because yeah, he's been found out, and that's the main thing. Koi bhi wrist spinner, if you understand their variations, then they're gone. And on such a flat pitch where the ball's not going to do anything, you can literally just play them off the pitch. So I mean, it's unfortunate that the pitches also contribute to some of the really high economy rates, because I don't think in the bowling of most teams is that bad. If you see, the pitches are just so flat most places that they made to look like club bowlers at times. And so that's why Bhuvi's achievement is really amazing, 4.66. So yeah.
Yes. Chalo, let's move on to the next topic. Next topic is England's chances actually in the coming up. So it was very vocal. England, I mean, Morgan and the team management in England were very vocal that they were treating this as the stepping stone to the World Cup that's coming up, to the World Cups that are coming up in India, right? So I felt England would be actually pretty happy with how the limited over series went. India is a extraordinarily tough challenge, whatever format it is, and I think England really stood up to the challenge. I felt they should have probably won the T20 series, and they should have actually won the ODI series as well, because they dominated us in the first game. It was going on 130 odd for no wicket, and should have won. So yeah, we would now move to what have England gained in terms of the upcoming World Cups. One thing obviously is, I don't know if Pranam will agree or not, with Sam Curran's batting, but so we'll start with Pranam. Pranam, what do you think? What have England?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the T20 series for England, I think it's pretty clear that Johnny Bairstow should open the innings, because Johnny Bairstow is really dangerous against the new ball. And Joss Butler, as good as he is, he should bat in the middle order, because Joss Butler, even if the field is spread out, he's still, better than Johnny Bairstow at playing against the spin and smacking them around, or even against the fast bowler. He's got a lot of, options in his game. He's very innovative, an ABD kind of player. So that has to be looked at. Bairstow should open the innings, and Owen Morgan has to bat at number 4. I mean, again, I know Ben Stokes is also in this side, but Owen Morgan is a better player in limited overs, and he should also be batting, with most time available. I don't understand why Morgan has sacrificed himself, to put Stokes up the order. And I think, to be honest, the best option for England could also be that David Malan sits out, because I know he may be number 1 in T20s, and but I think his role, even Stokes can do it at number 3. Morgan can bat at 4, Butler 5, and they have enough hitters to bat at 6 and 7. I mean, Malan is a good player, but I still am not sold on him as an international level player, because I want to see him more against top international sides on a regular basis. He's failed against the spin in this series, and
the first time he was playing in
I think Malan had a good series by a first time India series standard.
Yeah, but
he was pretty
I don't think he's. I think he's, in the sense that he's good. Like, he can, suppose wickets fall early, he can be a decent option. But I don't think England particularly need him as badly as they need.
He still has to strikes at an average of strike out of 130 plus. He's fast also.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, what is the need for
I think his point is
Roy,
he's not convinced about him against the spinners. That's probably everything that was visible in that.
Yeah, but the thing is, Johnny Bairstow and Jason Roy are so good in opening in ODIs. In T20s also, they'll be useful. They're playing with the same approach. I don't know why they want to, tinker with that. I think that is the issue, which even English commentators, were saying, that England need to have maybe a secondary approach sometimes, and need to not tinker too much with their lineup. And as far as the bowling goes in the T20s, their bowling lineup in T20s at least is very strong. ODIs, I think, Ben Stokes should go back to number 5, and once Root and Morgan come, their batting is again going to be beastly. And yeah, Sam Curran's innings was good, and so again it adds to their bench strength, even though he will not start. But yeah, they just have a lot of options. So
yeah,
England are favorites for T20 World Cup.
Yeah, maybe the IPL.
But England are favorites for this World Cup. I'm going to say it again. England are favorites. I won't be surprised if they win. Sorry to take more time.
No problem. Darshil, what do you think? England's chances for the upcoming World Cups, and obviously what
I think fantastic. I think they have the most explosive T20 lineup. I think, I don't know how for others it must be, but I was very impressed by Mark Wood's performance. He was phenomenal. At least in the opening burst, he kept India tight. In 2 matches, he took the game away. Imagine opening the bowling with Jofra Archer and Mark Wood. That's just terrific, high class, high paced bowling. Both have lethal bouncers. Both are very fast. Both just go all out in T20. So that's 8 overs of pure pace. And when you add a left armer Curran, you have a Stokes, and you play a third. I think that's a phenomenal bowling attack. I personally find
so many
options. Plus, Archer keeps it tight. Archer does not go for runs, so that allows Wood to go all out. And even if he goes for runs, he picks up wickets.
Yeah,
correct. So and one more thing is that, I personally found Malan's form very, very good for England. I think he was untested in India. He has come out on top. Even he'll get match practice with Kings 11 Punjab. So I think all in all, a great series for England. I think strengthen their squad. I think their squad is now all 11. I think even 2-3 backup options have been tested, and they're good to go.
Yeah, they must be very clear. And one thing that I sort of felt, and just adding to Pranav's point as well, was not because I admire him a lot, but I think they might have realized the importance of having Root in all formats. Because while David Malan did really well and has been doing really well for them, but they did kind of miss a person who was going to take on the spin or work them around or actually dominate the spinners in the T20s at least. So I think that will definitely happen. I think he's going to come back. Obviously, ODIs, yes, but I think he might come into the reckoning for the T20s as well. We'll move to Siddharth. Siddharth, what do you think? What are your thoughts on England's chances? What do they gain? And yeah,
I think as much as I like England's squad, I feel that they could have been more dominating in the T20 series, definitely. Because like India didn't have their A squad throughout the T20 series. They were shuffling here and there, and they weren't in the best. And England still didn't even manage to. I think they didn't cross 200 plus score even once in the whole T20 series. And I feel they should have been more aggressive. I just felt that I just had high expectations from them maybe, but they should have been more dominating. And I think they were pretty scattered squad, but I just don't like the spin options, because if in case Adil Rashid, something happens to Adil Rashid, or he has an off day, because you want Adil Rashid to play all the games. So sometimes, he's gonna have a bad game. Like he was exposing Rishabh Pant. Like Rishabh Pant took him to the cleaners, man. Literally, like every single over he bowled, there was like 1 6 or one boundary. So you want a backup spinner. England just don't have that backup spinner, according to me. Like
yeah.
like if Adil Rashid gets injured, yeah, he has find out. Obviously, you want Rashid to play all the games, and I don't see Rashid as being the best fielder as well. Obviously he fits in as a bowler, but I feel they need another spinner definitely. I think that's only one area they look into. Otherwise, pace bowling, obviously Mark Wood, Jofra Archer, you can't have anything better than that. I think they have
The
pretty
big
settled
match
squad.
winner, but though Rashid for Owen Morgan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
One of the
exactly.
biggest.
He's a match winner. I wouldn't drop him definitely. I'm just saying in case he gets injured or for a World
Interesting.
Cup, for a match, for a tournament
Obviously,
like a
got
World
it.
Cup, you obviously want good backups. So I mean, I think
Yep.
that's the only disadvantage. Otherwise, I think they have a pretty settled squad, and they are definitely one of the favorites.
Awesome. Chalo, so we'll shift focus from the ODIs to everyone's favorite topic, the IPL. So it's just about 10 days, 12 days to go for the IPL. Big announcement coming up today. Rishabh Pant is going to captain Delhi Capitals. Sid is very, very happy with it. Pranav is so happy that he's switched off his video. But yeah, so Rishabh Pant captaining, what are your thoughts on that, Sid?
I think definitely an aggressive move, but obviously you have Steve Smith in the team, you have Ravi Ashwin in the team, you have Dhawan in the team, all are
Rahane,
domestic captains. Rahane doesn't make to the playing 11, so I think
but
he's
yeah, I
definitely
mean,
like
he's there.
no,
in the team,
yeah,
so they must have thought.
definitely, yeah, definitely they must have thought. But I think the reason they've chosen Pant is because of retention next year, because I feel like they wanna retain. They'll definitely retain Pant, and they wanna retain a year. They won't not retain a year because he's obviously the captain of DC, right? And I think the third option it could be Rabada, because like he's been a match winner for Delhi easily. And if the captain like someone like Ashwin or Smith, they're great captains. I think Ashwin is a scientist of the game, and Smith is definitely a great captain according to me. But if the captain, and I'm not doubting them as captains, but like then there's a pressure of who to retain, right? And you wouldn't want to lose on someone like Pant. And I think Pant is captain for Delhi, so that's not a problem. He's obviously aggressive. He's very vocal behind the stumps. So I think he's gonna. It's a bit of a gamble, but I think it's not a problem because in IPL, I think he can obviously consult someone like a Dhawan, someone like a Smith, someone like a Ashwin between overs.
I think,
and
yeah,
he's someone who learn on the job, right? I mean, I think obviously while there'll be pressure in the press, in things on the pitch, I think it shouldn't matter much.
Yeah, I think it's a bit about so DC are a very coach oriented team. I mean, Ricky Ponting runs the show. Even with Shreyas, it was mostly the coaching that is running. So I think that's why they probably wanted someone. And also Pant is more sellable as a face right now than probably anyone in Indian cricket, even
I mean,
for that matter, Virat or someone.
looking at the finances, I think DC have a very low fan base. So having Pant as a captain, they would want to. No, that's obviously a point, right? Like from the franchise point of view. So he's definitely sellable. You're right. Yeah.
They've got really lucky. I mean, they've got two. Actually, not two. They've got Shaw, Iyer, Pant. Three of the most. I mean, they could be three of the most sellable cricketers in the coming years. So yeah, it's actually pretty good, pretty amazing. I'm really happy for Rishabh. I mean, it's such a short time, and he was not part of ODIs. Was dropped in tests in the first test match in Australia, and now he's bashing England around, and now got a captain Delhi. So really happy for him. In other news, obviously people have started coming in, started practicing, and so Pranav, are you there? Or I think your video is stuck, but can you hear us? Don't think he can hear us right now. Yeah, so we'll continue among us till he gets on it.
Yeah.
So so that was about DC. Now moving on to KKR. So KKR, Eoin Morgan is probably not going to be available for the initial few games, and he has said that he might. That he expects Narayan and Russell,
Narayan
as we
Russell,
discussed earlier, to be available for a longer time. So I think we're just going back to the original is Narayan fit, is Russell fit kind of stuff. What are your thoughts on that? What are
I
your
think,
thoughts on what
yeah,
KKR are going to do?
now is the last straw for them. They have nothing to lose. I mean, next year is the mega auction, right? So I think they're going to go all in for it. And obviously, they don't want injury prone players, but they're going to go all in for it. Narayan, Russell, I think this, obviously, they both are match winners, as big match winners they are. So obviously, they both fit in the squad. I feel Narayan has become very less lethal. He's been found out. He's not the same Narayan as he used to be before. I think batsmen feel way more confident in front of him. Even as a batsman, I think he's degraded a lot, definitely. But I think, but yeah, KKR they are a dodgy squad. Like, I don't know how to make of them because I particularly don't like their Indian players. Like, I feel they have a very wobbly, like none of like they're very out of form, in form. I like Nitish Rana, but again, he's very hot and cold. But yeah, I think definitely because they weren't the foreigners to fit, because someone like a Morgan, Russell, I think the T20 experience can, like in T20s, you just need match winners. You don't need consistency, to be honest. So when you have someone like a Morgan, Russell, Narayan coming with their T20 experience, I think that's the biggest plus point for KKR. And I think Pranav's back as well.
Yeah,
Pranav is
finally.
back. So Pranav, will take your thoughts on Pant's captaincy because that's the hot topic. Don't want to miss your
Right.
thoughts on that. What do you think?
Yeah, so I think it's a great. I mean, what now? Great 3 months for Rishabh Pant because he was dropped in the Adelaide Test and 36 all out happened, and then he was brought back. He was the star of the series win. Came back in the Test squad, had a great series against England. He was basically out of contention, like you had said earlier, in all formats. Now he came back in the T20s and he did all right. Don't think he did his best, but it's okay. And ODIs, he got a chance because of an unfortunate injury. And again, he's played 2 fabulous innings. And I think he's actually, with all the confidence, he's shown what India actually missed in the limited overs format. Somebody with X factor, somebody who's, not scared to lose his wicket. So, that's really great. And couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. He's got that, boyish charm and he's as a keeper. And, all his antics may annoy some, but, there's that, kiddishness about him, which is, really likable. As far as captaincy is concerned, as much as it's a great opportunity for him, I'm still a little bit concerned because I don't want that all this responsibility and he comes in the limelight so much, it might, affect his batting a bit. I mean, I don't know. I think before they did not want him as captain.
I was reading up on this just to interject there. So he has captained Delhi, obviously, with Gambhir and Ishant and all those guys, and they were runners up that year in the Ranji Trophy and won the ODI in Vijay Hazare that year. So he's I can't say it's proven, but I just get that MS Dhoni 2.0 vibe from him at the moment.
I mean, we all hope as Indian cricket fans that we have somebody like that. But like you were also saying that in IPL, the thing is that the captain is not the most important. The coach and the staff also. So that's a good thing for him. He'll learn from Ricky Ponting and whatnot, having leaders in the team. I personally felt perhaps Ashwin being a senior player should have been there, but again, maybe because Ashwin failed with KXIP when it was Kings 11, now it's Punjab Kings, that they might not want to give it to him, and instead they want, like you said, a young rising Indian star who's his status is just growing, and DC can grow their fan base, and since they want to probably retain him also and a year next year. So I guess it might. I hope that it works out well, and if DC win the IPL, that would be even greater. Pant is someone whom I think now everyone is on his bandwagon. I have been on his bandwagon for a very long time, even before that. So, and no one could be happier
has
than
been on the bandwagon since what?
Yeah.
Since Pant himself was not on his bandwagon.
Yeah, I mean, I especially, like I had mentioned, the experience when some Indian fans, during the India West Indies T20 heckled him with Dhoni's name, and that kind of upset me because Dhoni himself would not want that. He would himself be encouraging Pant, and I couldn't be happier. And I hope he does really well, and I hope we can talk about his captaincy and the good things. And I hope that if DC does well, that the credit doesn't only go to the Ponting and the staff, because while they do a lot of work, captaincy in T20 is, quite harsh. Things just keep ebbing and flowing so quickly. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited for him, and I
It'll be
hope he
interesting.
really does well.
It'll be interesting if actually DC end up winning. Then is Iyer going
I
to
think
come
this
back as
IPL,
captain?
the best thing is the contrast because like we have captains like Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, MS Dhoni, and on the other side we have Samson, we have Rishabh Pant. So I think there's a huge contrast, and I think we see IPL franchise going to like young Indian people. I think even
Indian
Gill is in
players. Yeah,
contention. Gill is in contention to become KKR captain like in a few years. So
yeah.
I think definitely
So I don't
the
think
IPL is
Kohli
great.
belongs in the same set as Dhoni and Rohit as captain. That's
Oh,
another.
obviously, that's no question,
That's
but we'll
another.
get discussed that another day.
Yeah, chalo. So we'll close today with one final question back to the Indian team. So a lot has been talked about the approach of England and how India should be going. India did try that in the last ODI, and the end result was that they won the game. So very shortly, is this the right way to go? What is the right way to go? India's approach traditionally has been okay, keep wickets till 35 overs, and then last 10-15 overs you try to get 150 and end up between 320 and 350. In the last ODI, wickets fell, but Pant and Pandya just wanted to keep scoring runs, and they scored a lot of runs. And towards the end, we got bowled out, didn't bat the last 10 deliveries, but it was enough. So that first, and then Pranav to close.
Yeah, sure. I think I wouldn't want particularly Rohit or Kohli to change the game because even though they might take a few balls to kick in, we both know what Rohit can do once he's set. Like after the 35th over, he just in a different zone. And Kohli plays as a finisher if he's on the crease till the 40th over. In the end, he plays like a finisher. I think I wouldn't want both of them to change the game. But I think whoever the other opener with Rohit, I think he should quicken up because 3 years back we didn't have a solid middle order. I think we were fiddling around with Manish Pandey, with Sanju Samson. They didn't really prove themselves. Pant was immature himself. But now I think Pant and Hardik have proved themselves to be more mature. I think they can themselves stay on the crease for 30 odd balls and pakka 40 or 50 to mari denge. I think even Deepak Chahar and Kunal played some amazing knocks. So I think we have a solid middle order.
On his debut.
Yeah, exactly. And even Jadeja will come back. So I think those three, Pant, Hardik, Jadeja, whoever plays, like even the Char plays, I think we should back them as a team to play 10 overs if needed at least. So I think till the 40th mark, I think we should give all our horses except Rohit and Kohli, whoever plays the other opening slot and at 4. I think he should be a little more aggressive because although I like Dhawan and he's very consistent, I just think that if he could score at a higher rate, I think we could get to those 350s, 360s more often. But again, I think Dhawan is off his peak now. Although I would like to see him in the team for 2 more years, I think there's a lot of pressure from the other guys. Another thing I liked was Rahul scoring 100. I think after the T20 series he had this year, he played a pretty decent stack rate as well. So I think this approach is fine. Scoring 330s. We didn't even have a proper like bowling. Like we were without Bumrah, without Shami. So I think once the main bowling is back, I think 330 should be a solid score to defend. We shouldn't be too greedy in terms of batting, I think. But yeah.
Interesting. So I mean, see, my point on just that is if Rohit and Kohli, because no matter what, if you take the next few years, Rohit and Kohli are going to bat the most number of deliveries as a percentage out of that Indian batting lineup, right? So if they don't approach the game in the way these guys have been approaching and the way that I personally feel is the right way, which is just go hammer and tongs, treat it as like 2.5 T20 games and try to get 400 every time. If they don't do that, then it's probably not going to happen. And that's what we saw. I mean, because it was almost 2 different games, right? When the top order was batting, India were okay, happy going at 6 and over and even consolidating when the field spread out. And then once we lost those top 3 wickets and top 4 wickets, actually KL also got out, then it was just a different ball game. And I personally think that these top 2, I mean, they're legends of the game, but I personally feel that the ODI game needs more tinkering now if they have to challenge England, especially in a global World Cup knockout kind of situations. What do you think, Pranav?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Actually, I had written a long post after we lost that India's approach is a little bit pre-2012 or pre-2010, where we like to keep wickets in hand and then go hammering tongs. And yeah, we are able to get big totals in the first two games because our middle lower order is much stronger than it was, say, near the 2019 World Cup. But this approach is good, if the pitch is a little bit, too paced or a little bit difficult to, score freely on. But the Pune pitches, they were all absolute roads. I mean, Moeen Ali bowled a 10 over spell of 47 very quietly with just 1-4. And I think Rahul and Kohli took, gave too much respect to him. I understood that India lost a couple of early wickets, but the thing is that even if you lose a couple of early wickets, maybe few overs you can, take a little time, but you have to be aggressive against the spinners because, if you attack the spinners, then the fast bowlers have to be brought back on and, it puts more pressure on them. Now, the approach in the final game was the right way because, first 3 overs, India just, tried to understand the pitch. And then Rohit and Dhawan played their natural game. They were batting at 7 and over without slogging. They were just playing their natural game, just being more
So
positive.
bowling
And
as well.
yeah, poor bowling, agreed. And this current English attack minus Archer is not the same. So my point is, in the first 10 overs, it's the best time to actually score without taking risks. You can just time the ball through the gaps, just be a little more positive, and you can even be 60 for no loss without trying too hard. Of course, the real challenge comes when you have extra fielders in the deep. That's when the challenge comes. So say India was now, I forgot the score, but maybe roughly we were 70 for no loss, I think, in the first 10. And when the spinners came on, there was a lot of pressure on them to try and, keep the runs down. And unfortunately, we lost some wickets, which, could have been costly. But even after Rahul got out, Pant and Pandya were just playing the way English middle order does, going after the bowling and not letting them settle. And yeah, the side effect was that India got all out for 330. But the fact is, because we were constantly attacking, we had a total also which was competitive. And that's what England does. Even if England lose wickets, they play the same way so that they at least get some kind of a total. There's no point being 190 for 6 and then, just batting out and making 260 for 8. I prefer England's approach. But what we can also do is that we can approach based on the pitch. Now, on a flat pitch, I think there's no two ways. You just have to go attack. If there's some, difficulty in scoring, then yeah, we should try and, see out the difficult phase and then go after the bowling. So India can always look for a hybrid. I agree, but that's true. But like in the World Cup, we saw that 280 was a good score and the finals 240 was a good score. So if in case the World Cup in India again shows such pitches, which I doubt because October, November, the pitches will be fresh and, really full of runs unless the ICC decide that they'll, make different types of pitches. But, in case, that's what Morgan was saying last year when they lost to Australia. They were preparing slow pitches so that they can prepare for the World Cup. So I think for Indian team, perhaps looking at the pitch will be the best way to approach because maybe we cannot do it the way England does all the time. So maybe a bit of, hybrid approach will be good. But I want to see that as long as we are making use of the middle overs and not letting opposition spinners go away without, going at, just 5 and over, I'm fine. So just a better approach will be good overall.
Interesting. So I think pretty much that's what we wanted to cover in this. So I think in conclusion, I think England will go back having learned a lot about what they want to do and what has to be their preparation for the World Cup that's coming up in the T20 format and in the longer term as well. They're prioritizing the IPL. So many countries are prioritizing the IPL. South Africans are going to be here. Their key guys, even though their series with Pakistan is going to go on, England have given a full freedom for people to. So it's going to be a full-fledged, proper IPL. I wish there were crowds, but they're not going to be, at least for the foreseeable. Early on, I personally think there are not going to be crowds throughout the IPL. But
there are no crowds for the IPL. The BCCI has announced. That's a good decision, I think.
Yeah, I think they said early on in the first phase, or have they announced completely? So then it's.
They said no. Maybe I think since the finals and semis are at Ahmedabad, they might consider because they'd like that huge stadium to be full. So who knows? But I think right now it's the best option, and let every team not have a home and away advantage.
What happened to PCL? What happened to PSL this time? I don't think IPL will take like the risk because it's a very tough time for PCL this time. With India slowly going to the second phase, and the teams will be traveling. They'll be taking at least 3 flights, I think, in the entire PL. I think it's a good, well-scheduled plan, but it's definitely Let's see.
Yeah, and of
Hopefully
course,
it will
all
happen.
the foreign teams want to play IPL not just because of the money, but this is the best preparation for the T20
For the
World Cup in India.
exactly.
There's no doubt about that.
Exactly. ठीक है. So I think that's pretty much it. We'll call it a wrap. Thanks for joining, Siddharth. Thanks for joining, Pranav and Darshil. Although sadly you had to drop out to some emergency. I will see you again next. I think a lot of fun coming up on the reverse sweep because the IPL is coming. We'll do review shows, maybe fantasy league shows, and a lot of stuff. So thanks for watching, everyone. Please do like, share, and subscribe wherever you're watching. To share it amongst your WhatsApp groups. It helps us a lot. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye, guys. Bye.